introduce.
Well, hello everybody.
Welcome in.
That's right. Dustin will be here in a little bit. We're going to hold the fort down while he's out doing big things.
That's right.
I'm sure he will tell everybody what he's been up to when he comes in here.
And before we get started, I'd feel remiss without pointing out a thank you to the intro show to Snaggin Night Live. Thank you, Bait Shop. Another good warm-up act for the Snaggin Night Live show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sure it was fantastic. I was asleep, so I took a nap.
That sounds like my New Year's Day. I was supposed to go out fishing with Dustin.
Oh yeah.
I had said no the night before with the full intention of trying to get it together to go, and next thing I know, I fell asleep about 12:30 at night. 11:30 the next morning, I wake up. I don't recall the last time I ever slept 11 straight hours. I'm old. Normally you got to wake up and pee and nothing. I was out the 11 straight hours. So I missed fishing. I did not
seeing that in chat.
Yeah, I did not miss dinner though. Did not miss dinner.
Yeah. Technically, you woke up in time for lunch too.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, we're gonna say hi to some people in chat. Of course, first one in at 6 p.m. was Sampy. What's up, Mike? How you doing, buddy? We have Kevin Hendrickson. How you doing, sir? Gregory Lemon, one of our favorite viewers.
That's right.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for being in here. Burrito Catfish Lady. Hello, Lisa. She says Dustin with 72 N's. Uh-oh. Here we go.
That was for Lisa. And I couldn't see the back. I had my...
Oh, wait. I see something.
Yeah, it's there. It's still there. I can't hide it all.
Crappy day, Darren. What's up, sir? How you doing, man? Let's see here. Jeff Beal. How you doing, Jeff? Jeff sent me a screenshot of a thumbnail for the next DIY catfish tournament that he plans on doing. I think he said it's going to be in June maybe.
I don't remember. I got the same one. I'm thinking I'm going to be doing that this year as well. So we'll see.
Yep. That's what I told him. I told him I'd love to. So got that to look forward to. And we've got Verlina Smith V. How you doing, V? Congratulations, V, on the nominations for some of the Golden Whiskers.
Absolutely.
And congratulations to you too, Stan.
Well, thank you. I was hoping for one, and I got several of the Community Servant Award.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's near and dear to my heart. But I was unexpected. I just do what I love, and that was unexpected. So thank you, everybody.
Very cool. Uncle Jeep, how you doing, buddy? Wouldn't be a live stream if our favorite troll wasn't here.
That's right. And speaking of that, congratulations to Lisa, Burrito Catfishing Lady, Uncle Jeep, and Greg B.
That's
the
right.
most important award, because without them, we'd be still sitting here talking. Austin, me, we'd still be talking, but there'd be nobody out there talking, and it wouldn't be quite as fun. So thank you, everybody.
Yep, congratulations to you three. Well deserved. JG Hill Studio, how you doing, buddy?
My good friend JG.
Here. We've got Randy, old gray hair Swain.
Oh.
How you doing, Randy? Butterflies and sunshine. Hello, Linda. Fishing and cooking with Mike Chavez. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, and speaking of Mike Chavez, I saw awesome news. I don't know if you saw it or not. Mama is back home. She's out of the rehab. That is awesome.
That is awesome news. Very awesome news. Beyond awesome.
I was so upset that, and I know as you were, that we didn't get to go see her over here. But that, of course, was the week that I was sick as a dog, and I didn't want to take any chances with that. So, but Dustin, I did hear Dustin got over there and had a good afternoon, and so that's awesome.
Yep, that is very good. Awesome. Michael Grumpy Vet, how you doing, buddy? Thank you for coming in here, sir.
It's great to see him. He's been a great. Speaking of great subscribers, he's been out there supporting everybody. Big shout out to that.
Hey, speak of the devil, Greg Burgess says, "Hey, Dustin, awesome to stand. Good to see you guys. Good to see you too, Greg."
Absolutely.
Lance Makuga, the Hawaiian fisherman. How you doing, Lance? Hello, everyone. Hopefully not everyone sad the Irish beat them dogs. I'm happy about it. I've been a Notre Dame fan since I was a kid, so
I've been a Notre Dame fan ever since the Rudy came out.
That's right. Yep.
That's going back a few years.
Yeah, but it's timeless. Rudy's timeless.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
How you doing, Chris? Thanks for coming in here, bud. Yeah.
Oh, Jeff Beal put the date in there, June 7th.
Oh,
Not your average DIY fishing rod challenge. I've got some great ideas. I'm going to, big shout out to you for the Amish Assassin for last year. I know that you had to keep those plans. I mean, I saw plans where people were trying to steal them, and and what a performance, though. That was a great rod.
Yes, it was. And then and it still is. I
was the wrong
I tried to use it the other night, and I couldn't get another fish on it. But yep, we won that challenge. Mama Fever, she was with me, and it was a great time. And then I ended up catching like a 30-pound blue on it or something.
Yeah,
so that was a pretty good test, Yeah,
I think it was like 33 or something. It was over 30. Yeah. It was a nice fish.
Yep. That was that blue that laid eggs all in my boat during the spawn. That was crazy. Let's see.
That's right. We kicked Dustin out of his own show.
Yeah.
He said, "Let us try it
for you on the weekend, Dustin." Well, assuming he's going to stay where we are.
You never know.
Saturdays, well, both Saturday and Sunday are cold, but Saturday's going to have quite a bit of wind. Sunday's going to be less wind. So Sunday would probably be the day to go fishing if anybody's going this weekend, at least around here. And then Sunday night into Monday, they're calling for some little bit of snow and wintry mix, so that always makes things interesting around here. Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think, Stan? What do you think Dustin's up to right about now?
I don't know. About 6 foot, maybe. Ha ha! Boom, boom.
I was going to say about 250, 260.
250, 260. Yeah. There you go. Same concept.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty happy. Probably a little scared. There's Palmetto cats out there. What's up, Kevin?
What's up, Kevin? We got Dead Sea Pirates. I see him in here. Thank you very much.
So, Austin, have you done anything? Any kind of dates with 712s lately? Have you had any? Been out with her at all?
Yep. We went fishing together New Year's Day, and it was really nice to get out there and hang out with my wife. It's always nice getting her on the boat. Other than that, though, it was a pretty rough day.
I heard.
We caught 2 small fish, but then my lower unit took a dump on the motor, and
oh no.
Yeah. And then and the wind was blowing so hard down the river that I just used the trolling motor and shot across the river, got back to the ramp. And when I did that, then the wind changed direction and pushed us from the back of the boat. And my monster rod holder was sitting in a rod holder on the side of the boat, and I couldn't slow the boat down fast enough. And the rod or the net caught a post at the ramp, and it.
Oh my goodness!
And it was like a loud pow, and I thought it broke the rod holder. It was because it's just one of those little plastic ones but it actually snapped the fiberglass handle on the on the monster net. So I said, this trip's getting real expensive.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, hopefully that's all.
I think some Gorilla tape on the net, and I'll be just fine. But
there you go. Squeeze some of the
main concern is the motor.
Yeah. Shoot some of that Gorilla glue that expands down in there, and Gorilla tape on the outside, good as new. Yeah, I actually got to go out with my wife today. We didn't go fishing or anything.
Oh, okay.
We were just out, spending a little time together, and I almost didn't make the show tonight. We went to an antique. We went to an antique shop, and the Sons of Guns wouldn't let me leave.
Put price tags on you, huh?
Boom. Yeah, they tried, but no, we spent the day together, hanging out, went out shopping and did some things like that. So that was fun.
That's good. That's always nice.
Yep. Stan 3 is supposed to be going out fishing with one of the granddaughters tomorrow. Love it. I love it when she called him up yesterday and said, "Dad, we're going fishing tomorrow." Look, I'm already ready. She looked like the young brother from Christmas Story.
Ralph, or what was his name? Dang it,
I don't know. What was his name?
Brother.
Where he can't put the hands. He couldn't.
He falls.
Little whiny kid. But,
he falls down in the snow and he can't get up. Yeah.
She said, "I'm all ready." He had on like 10 pairs of everything. And
this doesn't sound like anything about wind.
We're saying
hot. Oh, yeah, it's a lot of hot air. Huh?
Good evening, everybody.
We were just waiting for the expert to get here. That's all. We didn't feel.
When's he showing up?
Yeah, we didn't feel qualified to talk about it.
Well, I think
Randy. That's it, Randy.
I think after yesterday, Austin and I are more than qualified to talk about it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I got plenty of things to say about yesterday.
Just some of them you can't say on live, right?
That's right.
No, most of them. He was trying to describe it, and he was like, "Well, it started out at beep, and then beep, and we beep, and went down the beep." And
pretty much.
Dead Sea Pirates, Gate City, Virginia. I never heard of Gate City.
Gate City. No, new one.
Nope.
Lisa. Sorry.
That's okay. Lisa. Too late. Damn it.
All right, so
we got a lot of people up in here.
Absolutely.
Up in here.
Butterflies, how you doing? Thanks for coming in, everybody. Really appreciate it. I do apologize for being late. I was in the middle of or finishing up doing a thing.
Yeah, don't let that happen again. I'm just saying.
I know.
You know how I am about being on time.
Yes, tardiness is one of your
pet peeves for sure. Oh, without a doubt.
When I say tardiness, I mean you're always late.
Yeah. And by tardy, I mean late.
Can you imagine the sign on the front of the Cracker Barrel that he used to run? Like on Monday through Friday opens at 7:02, You know, like
Ish.
Yeah.
And closes at 6:58.
yeah.
Yeah.
You come in. You got to make up for the 2 minutes you were late by closing early.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. You got it. No, it doesn't work that way. No.
I like it.
Dustin will tell you Dustin will tell you that everybody last night was like, we thought we'd have more time because, we're on James River time. Everybody thinks that it's, well, if we're here, we can just use the excuse of stand. So there we go. But what we change it to last night? Oh, tidal time. Because it's always changing.
It's always changing. Yeah, it ebbs and flows.
That's right. That's right.
Good evening, Gregory Lemon. Yes, there's supposed to be rain Sunday night, possibly snow winter mix into Monday.
Woohoo! Love it.
Well, hello, Main Girl. It's a new name for me, Main Girl 207. How you doing? Thanks for coming in.
What's up, man? Great to see you. I believe she came from. I believe Main Girl come over with NJ.
Oh, awesome. Well,
Yeah,
thank you
like,
so much. We really appreciate you.
It looks like she knows Burrito.
Yeah.
She knows Lisa. So
could have been Lisa too, because God bless Lisa.
Yeah.
Nominated for subscriber of the year. Oh no, I was just giving my shout outs to how much I appreciate Lisa's support. I haven't heard you congratulate her yet, but I want to publicly say how happy I am she was nominated, and what a well-deserved nomination for Lisa. Thank you, Lisa, for all the support for Two Stands Fishing. I was waiting to get kicked off. I'm trying. I don't know.
I'm being generous tonight.
It's not working.
I'm giving you a long week.
My bad, Lisa.
There you go.
Oh, I went my phone.
Well, regardless of where you came from, Main Girl, we're glad you're here.
That's
Absolutely.
right. Jeep says it's going to be high 60s, low 70s where he's at.
That would be Arizona.
Yep, but that would be very nice.
I'd fish in that. As long as
What
there's
the
no wind.
what? 60s, 70s. 60s and 70s in Arizona, they're putting out the parkas. They're zipping up.
Yeah.
It's like going from Hawaii to Kansas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that just me, that echo, or is that like, am I delayed, Austin?
I don't think so.
Yeah, see, your mouth moved and then I heard it.
See? We were here having a perfectly good show.
I had to ruin it. I do apologize.
Yeah, you are reacting after both of us, so
yeah, I
could
guess
possibly be.
It was happening so quick I didn't really notice it before. But
I'm pouring out all this comic gold and you're not even laughing until like 30 seconds later. So yeah, you must be a little delayed.
comedy.
I did win the Humble Host of the Year award. I was nominated for that, most humble.
Did he say he was giving out all this comic fool's gold?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that, Lance. He said, "You mean Hawaii to Texas to Wisconsin?"
Yeah. That's a
yeah.
big
I thought that was the most hilarious thing. The Hawaiian fisherman. Where are you from? Sheboygan.
Yeah.
I love it, but that's Lance. You got to love Lance.
Oh yeah.
Well, let me reboot real quick because this echo is bothering me.
Okay.
And then we'll get started. Hopefully, it won't take me too long.
Do you know how to do that?
Can you tell me?
Yeah, you turn the power off, or if you're going to reset the modem, unplug it, count to 30, plug it back in.
Austin, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Do you see me? Do you see the words coming out of my mouth at the same time my mouth is moving?
Yes.
It's standing.
What about me?
Say
What
again.
about me?
Yes. So
Okay.
it's Stan then.
Well,
Yep.
maybe it's just
The host with the most. Maybe that's it. That's it.
Lord
Oh,
have
thanks, Jody. Jody said, funnily, some real entertainment. Well, Jody, tonight we're gonna do something a little different. We're going to we're trying to drop some knowledge on y'all. If anybody wants to stick around for that,
dropping some knowledge.
we're gonna try. Stan's trying the vertical live.
TikTok.
That's right. Hey, Greg Burgess, how you doing? So I had to let my
Is he froze? Like
yeah.
that?
Oh, look, there's Stan back. Hey, Stan, you want to see yourself? Look, aren't you looking funny right there?
touche.
Much better.
All right.
Well, I still
It must be this Dollar Tree camera mount that I got today.
No, that's what it is. So
$1.25.
Austin, should I ban him, the other Stan 2 from studio?
Yeah,
no,
ban it.
I can't. He got kicked out.
You know, y'all keep this up. I gotta put my hater blockers on because
Oh my
hate.
God.
You want to see my hater blockers? There you go. Those are the darkest ones ever.
Whew, that's one way to get rid of the hate. I gotta say it.
All right, let's get to the show.
He should, if he rubbed his hands like this, he looked like a housefly.
Boy, to be a fly on the wall. There's a little cut. There's a little segment we can cut out. That's for sure.
Hey,
So,
dang it, I was going to ask a question. Now I can't remember.
So, fishing in the wind.
So, yesterday, Austin and Lauren went out. I went out yesterday by myself for the first time since the incident. So that was very, very proud of myself. I think I just had to get over that hurdle.
Well,
good job, buddy.
You weren't planning on going out by yourself, though, were you?
No, but my fishing partner backed out on me. So
I bet it's the very last moment too.
well, yeah, I think he must have hit his head and fell asleep for like I don't know. I think he was dreaming of Kansas or something, clicking his heels together.
I bet that sucker didn't even message you. What a jackass! What a jackass!
No,
It was a 12-hour coma.
Yeah, I think that was well needed.
I'm sure it was, but I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, I'm back feeling like myself again, and it was really a good day. Good day. I'll just say it that way.
Absolutely, and it ended awesome because we got to have dinner with Roger and Zach and 1 Pound Dustin and Dan from Goober Time Guide Service, and me and Stan. We all sat around and joked and waited for our food for 3 hours at.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't know what jackass picked Applebee's, but
hey, can I give everybody in chat one guess who picked the restaurant we went to last night?
Well, I wasn't able to make it, but I just thought it was funny how somebody suggested Hooters, and then Roger said that that'd be great, but I prefer a place with good food. And then you went to Applebee's, so it was well, if you're gonna do that, why didn't you should have gone to Hooters?
Yeah, we should have just went to Hooters.
I'm sorry, Gregory. Gregory said his dad and him went fishing at our farm pond and got 1 bite and 1 bluegill this afternoon. Where I live, I only caught the fish. Oh, wow.
No, he was the only one to catch fish. Dad didn't get nothing.
Wow. Yeah. Hopefully it wasn't too windy out there. Hey, Nina, what's going on, Miss Nina?
What's up, Nina's kayak crew?
Hey, Nina.
So, yeah, exactly, Lance.
Hey, it's only as good. only as good as the management that's there. And I went to Applebee's. We should have went to the one on Hall Street because that one was.
We should have went to the Cracker Barrel. You could have managed it.
That would have been much better. They're pretty much consistent.
Yeah. But I hope, Gregory, hope you guys weren't fishing in wind, because yesterday we had some wind. And we thought, Austin and I talked about it last night, and we thought today would be a good topic of conversation, would be trying to give people some pointers when having to deal with wind, because there's some areas that have a lot of wind consistently.
Absolutely.
So, and you can still go fishing. But it's a lot of people don't know or may want to know, like what should I do in these conditions? So I figured I did a little research today. Austin and I talked about it. He looked some stuff up. So we've got some stuff we wanted to talk about, go over and open the floor up to any questions that anybody might have after we're done talking about this. And we can answer those to the best of our ability. And hopefully we drop some knowledge on y'all tonight. Doing something a little different for 2025.
Ooh.
That's right.
There we go. That sounds great.
Yep.
Yeah, JG's got 101 right there. Having a motor that works helps in the wind. That's that's probably fishing in the wind 101.
Yep.
Wait, is that a shot at somebody?
Sure works.
No, not a shot at all.
Oh, okay.
That's just we've all been there. We've all experienced this. We've all,
some more than others.
Yeah. Not pointing any fingers.
Yeah.
Hey, Jimmy James Bailey, what's going on? How you doing? Thanks for coming in.
Awesome names out there in chat tonight. Great.
We really appreciate each and every one of you all coming in tonight. But if we don't get started now, we're going to run out of time.
We're going to run out of time anyways, so
probably.
But go ahead, Dustin. What do you want to start with?
Yeah, where do you?
I was just going to talk about Palmetto Cats. What's going on, Kevin? Thanks for coming in.
Hey, Kevin.
I want to nominate Snaggin Night Live for Educational Show of the Year for 2025. Is it too early? Too early?
No, it's never too early, Stan. It's never too early.
All right, there you go.
So one of the things that we dealt with yesterday was it wasn't sustained wind. It was breezy pretty much most of the time, but then you had gusts of wind. And I guess we can always start with maybe if you're going to have to deal with wind, what are some of the positive things you're looking for? Right. And one of the things that I thought about, and I know Austin and I talked about it, was if you're in a river that is a tidal river where the current's going to change, right? The current flow is going to change from one direction to the other at some point throughout the day. You're going to want to plan your trip around that and the wind. So what's up, Bubbles?
What's up, Brian?
We were talking about, thank you, Freddie. Appreciate you. We were talking about going upriver into the city yesterday morning, and the wind was going to be blowing from the west. So up in the city on the James River, the tide doesn't affect that part of the river other than making it go up and down because the water is coming from the mountains. So the water is going to be consistently going downriver for the most part. So when the wind's blowing from the west, it's blowing with the current, with the tide, or with the current. And so it's going to help you anchor. If I want to fish up in the city in the wind, the best place to do it for me would be up in the, if I'm going to fish in the wind, the best place for me to do it would be up in the city, especially if it's coming from the west, right? Because you don't want the wind blowing against your anchor. So going upriver and the tide's going downriver, then your boat's going to be all over the place because it'll be hard to keep anchoring and keep your baits on the bottom in one place.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Austin.
Well, right. You just you want that wind to be going with the current. So that's the best case scenario. And if it's not going against the current on a tidal river, there's a good chance that at a maximum of 6 hours that it will be. So you can time your trip accordingly. If you're going to have winds that are supposed to come from the west or the south or whatever, pretty much all day. Maybe go in the evening instead of the morning, or so, depending on what that current's going to be doing.
And first of all, you're talking about safety factor number one, because you get wind blowing against current.
Yep.
That's what gets those rollers going. That's what creates just unsafe conditions where the water can come right up in the boat.
Yep.
We've experienced it even up here, and the further downriver you get, where it's more open to like Hopewell, where it's a mile or whatever across, and further down, it can get downright bad out there when you get wind going against current. So that number one is safety, and like you said, number two, the wind blowing with the current, it will help keep the boat in line. And like you were saying, if you know that it's consistent, going to be from pretty much the west all day. Or it might be, from the west and then switching southwest. Well, okay, I'm going to fish, like Dustin was saying, in the city, it's pretty much direct east. The current's going down direct east. But once you get down and you turn the bend, well, now all of a sudden it's going like south. And so then the next turn, another section might be, so pick your sections based on where the wind, what direction the wind will be blowing. So that's another. Yeah,
so if you're one of those people that likes to plan your trip, unlike me, I just kind of wing it for the most part. Although I will say that when the trips we have planned, we have done much better at, and you stick to your plan. But if you're one of those that likes to plan your trip and you're dealing with a tidal river, but your river also think about too, if your river has any bends in it, especially major bends, if it goes from east to pointing south, then you're going to want to adjust what you're fishing in that bend if you're going to fish that bend, depending on how your boat's going to face and which way the wind's blowing.
Yep.
So one of the things that Stan, what are some of the things that you're going to look for if it's a windy day? Like, where are some of the places that you would prefer to fish?
What I'm going to start out with is if it's a windy day with a lot of sun, I'm going to look for shallow and look for coves because, you're out of where that takes the main current out of it. Plus, a lot of the coves are protected by the trees. So you're going to have automatically less wind and less boat movement to begin with. So that's the first place I'm going to look. Second place, like you said, is, the wind was coming from the west. So I'm going to look for those spots that it's going to be blowing directly downriver. So like this, you knew that the wind's from in the west. City is great for that. Plus also in the city, again, you've got bigger buildings along the sides. You've got further down a little bit, you've got some trees. So again, you've got a lot of wind block areas. Yep. So it kind of helps control the wind there too. So that's some of the things that I would immediately look for.
Yep. What about you, Austin?
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. But the like yesterday in the city, like the wind was supposed to be coming from the west, and it didn't really come from due west at all the entire time we were out there, even though that's what they were calling for. But it changed direction. Sometimes it would come upriver. It was very, very sporadic. But for the most part, you could get up alongside the west bank of the river and get out of a lot of that direct wind.
Great point.
And so you can use the bank to your advantage. A lot of our rivers, you're not going to want to anchor up directly in the middle of it anyways. And we don't have this problem as much up in the city. But other places on the James and other rivers in the country, you've got barge traffic. And if it's a warmer time of year, you've got, personal watercraft, you've got other fishermen, blah, blah, blah. So, you're not going to want to be in the middle of the river anyways. So if you can get to that protected bank and like if you're going after ledges or whatever, then you can definitely use those trees and that shore to your advantage. And we ended up doing that yesterday for a while. So
yeah, I was
easier.
I was trying to be.
And how about you, Dustin? What are you looking for?
Well, one of the things I did some research today during lunch break, and I found something. I found something that was something that I hadn't thought about, and neither one of you brought up tonight either. Is how the wind affects bait fish. And one of the things I read was that a lot, especially stronger winds, because it pushes the top of the water and a lot of the bait fish are on that part of the river. It will push them into certain sections. It'll push them like off the main river into pools.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So if you go where the bait fish are getting blown to, you might find where some of the catfish are going to be at too.
Yeah, that's a big thing on reservoirs. It's
definitely
for rivers too, but
definitely lakes and reservoirs where there's not really that main current to control things, but absolutely. And another caveat with that is how long the wind has been blowing that direction. So if you're having a wind, you're having several days of wind, obviously all that bait fish, the plankton and stuff is what happens. It moves that to where the bait fish, same thing, and then they follow that, and then the bigger fish, etc. But if it's just starting to happen, they're not blown over there yet. It's just going to be coming from the windward side. So you want to go as close to that. We try to fish in the channel that's closest to the windward side if it's just changing.
Yeah. And
if it's consistent for a day, 2 days, then it's moved over. So that's a great point. That's an excellent point.
Yep. Especially in warmer months where bait is consistently shallow, or shallow more often anyways. But if your gizzard shad are 30 feet deep because it's 17 degrees outside and it's been that way for a while, they're not going to be affected by the wind nearly as much as if they were hanging out in 3 feet of water.
All right, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Appreciate you coming in.
But yeah, definitely wind. Like Stan said, if it's been windy for a couple days in pretty much the same direction, that will 100% have at least some effect.
Right.
And that's a big thing that Stand 3 is not a big into a lot of the other kind of pressure and a lot of this other stuff. Wind, wind, we look at wind as a negative thing, but sometimes it can be a positive thing, like what we were just talking about, as far as where it's being able to predict where the bait's been blown to, or other fish and etc. So that's and you saw Uncle Jeep's thing, right? I heard the wind blows.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so it can be a good thing if it's a consistent thing, and you can use it to kind of predict where things are going to be.
Yep.
Well, that's something. Go ahead, Austin.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say that it kind of goes down another path that I was looking at today too. Doesn't have to do as much with the wind, but to the wind aspect, patterning fish, right? If it's windy, if it's been windy a couple of days, or it's going to be windy when you're going out, you may use that. You may want to use the wind as part of your strategy to pattern the fish, right? Because we were just talking about what it does to the plankton and the bait and all that stuff. So it's something you want to add into your calculations when you're trying to figure out where the fish are and what they're doing.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And every fish out there, whether they eat plankton or seaweed, or whether they're herbivores or omnivores or straight meat eaters, they are all predators because they are all searching for food. It's just a matter of what they're eating.
Right.
So
correct.
Yep. That's the circle of life. That's the whole food chain.
It's the circle of life.
I was just picturing Austin holding up a shad.
Yeah.
I've held many babies like that.
Yeah, they're all in your house.
Yep.
Up on the front of the boat.
Usually on the front of the boat, on the tailgate of the truck, whatever.
And then, of course, they get a little bit older and they meet Timon and Pumbaa, and then all hell breaks loose.
Oh, yeah.
And none of your friends want to stand downwind.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
That'd be a good nickname for Stand 3 and Stand 2, Timon and Pumbaa. Come to think of it, that's pretty good.
Okay, get it out. I would be Pumbaa. I know.
We know. Yeah, of course.
What was that old? Sorry, Dustin. But
Rikishi. Rikishi.
No, well, Dustin could be Rikishi, but Rafiki is what it was.
Rafiki.
But
I'm getting my wrestling in.
Hey, what was that old cartoon that had the little yappy dog and then the big bulldog? What was that cartoon?
I think the big bulldog was Butch, right? I think that was his name, Butch.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyways, so
I like the
gosh.
better.
There's another one. Back to the wind. Back to the wind.
Back to the wind. None of Stan's friends want to stand downwind. Let's see. What did Lynn say? Said I'd say lower 30-30, higher. Oh, talking about
pressure.
Yeah, right. Do the fish bite better in high pressure or lower pressure? And Lynn said he learned from Steve Douglas. He said lower, 30-30, higher. Let's see. I'd say lower. Higher, they think they are full. Right. Their swim bladder. Right. So the pressure on their swim bladder, when the pressure's higher, it puts a lot more pressure on their swim bladder or on their stomach too. Yes, Stan.
Sure.
Go ahead. No, you were doing good.
Okay. So if it puts a lot of pressure on the fish, then they're gonna feel like they're full and they're not gonna want to eat as much. But if it's a lower pressure, there's not as much pressure and they tend to eat a little bit more.
And you're also looking for a pressure that's dropping, because as it goes, if it's above 30, there's pressure, so it's pushing. We were just talking, what do the bait fish and everything follow is the plankton, the microorganisms, etc. So as that pressure builds, it's pushing them down. Well, as the pressure gets lower, as it's dropping down under 30 and it's getting in those upper 29s, that's kind of like your premium pressure area.
Yep.
All that stuff all of a sudden starts coming up. Well, we know what happens when all the bait and all that food is in the water for the bait fish. They start feeding that. So it's a feeding. They start feeding. What triggers a predator fish is some other fish feeding. So then and the whole circle of life happens again. But yes, if pressure pushes down, pressure lowers, it decreases the pressure on the swim bladder. It puts more food in the water, so they feel hungry and there's more food in the water. Boom, boom, boom.
And then you follow the bubbles.
There you go.
That's right.
And you think Stan's down there. But another thing that I saw too, it does again. I went down the rabbit hole of wind, but I saw a couple other things that caught my eye too. When you're in the wind, or more importantly in this aspect, let's throw a little bit more knowledge out there. I never thought of this. I didn't think about it, but it makes sense that if we're fishing the James River, right, and the water's up, where do you want to look for fish? In the shallows. If the water's low, you're going to want to look deep. So, because if the water's up, that means there's a lot of stuff stirring up on the banks, and that's where all your bait fish are going to start heading to the banks, and that's where all the predators are going to go.
That's right. That's
Absolutely.
That's why flood stages, or not necessarily flood stages, but you get some rainfall and the river comes up a little bit. Fish can get to areas that they sometimes can't always get to, and they definitely will.
Yeah,
they will for sure. They will make their way to those areas. So,
and I think that's one of the other reasons. Speaking of just strictly tidal waters, where we got that every 6 hours, it's coming up high tide, and then the outgoing tide starts. Well, when the water went up, it now went up into the banks, into that where there's worms, there's bugs, there's whatever. So now as it goes out and it starts going outgoing tide, boom, it sucks all that food down into the water, like what Dustin and Austin were just saying. Yeah. Again, more food in the water, feeding frenzy, smaller fish start eating, bigger fish start eating. So yeah, it all, a lot of it just makes sense the more you think about it.
Absolutely. So as far as fishing styles, Austin, what do you think? What would you prefer to do, fishing wise, style wise, in the wind?
If the wind is going with the current, then the easiest way would be anchor up. If the wind is going against the current, and if it's going against the current and it's a ton of wind, 30, 40 mile an hour wind, then you're going to have some rough waters, and you're going to want to look for a place where you can get out of that more than likely. And
right.
and then at that point, you can do a couple different things. But if you've got a low amount of current and more of an annoying breeze, we'll say, that's going against it, then suspend drifting can be absolutely primo, because you will be moving slightly slower than the current, which is perfect for suspend drifting.
That's exactly what I was getting at.
There's a narrow window where where nature will help you very much in that. But that's definitely a thing that. And then if you've got a decent trolling motor, you can definitely drag in the wind. We've done it. It's more work, but you can do it. If it's But if it's like yesterday where you've got 40-mile-an-hour gusts, that's it's very difficult to do.
Yeah.
You've got to find a very special place where you can get out of some of that wind.
Right.
Pop the socks. Yep. Michael Grumpy Vet just said there, for you pop the socks if you have wind and especially changing winds and stuff. Using the drift sock to kind of keep the current keeping you straight, that'll help out a lot.
Yep.
But suspend drifting, like Austin said, my favorite way, hands down, my favorite way to fish, even if we're anchored, my favorite way to fish is suspending. But if a lot of times they'll want that bait moving a little bit, and like Austin said, where one of the key components of my opinion of moving baits, just like bumping, if you hear bumping, they're going to say, use the boat to control the boat speed so you're moving slower than the current, depending on what the current is. They say rule of thumb is generally like half of the current, but as long as you're moving slower than what the current's going, that's a good rule of thumb. And use what you have. So drift socks. I know Stan 3, we've always smaller boat, and with the kayaks, he's used the Walmart bag as a drift sock. In a kayak, just enough to keep it, For those who don't know what a drift sock is, it's basically like a parachute on a drag car.
Yep.
You throw it out of the boat and it catches the current and it pulls the front of the boat. So it pulls it so it's facing downstream, so it keeps facing the one direction, even in the winds.
And if you don't have a drift sock, chances are, as a catfisherman, you have a bucket on the boat.
That bucket, great point.
Yeah. A bucket, it's better than nothing.
Uncle Jeep says, does Austin have a blue arrow painted on his head? He sounds like he knows and understands the wind. It must be an Amish airbender.
That's pretty good. That would have been perfect. Man. Definitely. Yeah. Dang.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That's information that would have been great to have.
Yeah, you got it. Jeep's on top of it, man. He's
Yep.
So Michael Grumpy Vet said heavy winds, longer line, light winds, shorter lines.
I know.
You talking about leader lines, or are you talking about like how long you put your lines out in the water?
I'm assuming lines out in the water. Maybe.
Lines in the water, because it kind of makes sense, because if your boat, higher winds and your boat's moving,
yes.
If you had the shorter lines, they'll be pulling them all over each other. But if you got longer lines out in the wind, even if you're back of your the sock line, all right.
Gotcha. Thank you.
But I agree with what Stan was saying, though. That definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
Your boat gets to swaying. And if you've got a line that's just kind of like tossed off to the left or the right, and that boat gets to swaying, and it's not going to stay there. It's going to hop it right over to wherever it wants to, usually back behind the boat. Then you get a big slack line, but there was something else.
What does Chatt say about fishing in the wind? Do y'all got any tips out there that you like to use, or what you look for when you're fishing in the wind?
JG Hill says drifting lines back behind the boat. It keeps the weights on the bottom.
Absolutely. Yep.
And you might want to think about too, especially with these higher. Well, I don't know about the higher winds, but when you're fishing in winds that's causing the water to move a little bit better or faster, you're going to want to use heavier weights than you usually would in those areas.
Absolutely.
Keep your bait pinned to the bottom.
Yep. And then that's another You know, for those that remember, stand 3 sometimes on the little boat. We used to have a smaller boat than we have now, a little 12-footer, and he had 14 rods out of this thing. But the rods that were here out that way had the heaviest weights.
Yep.
The next one's down because the current would pull them down a little more. He had the next heaviest. So these up here might have 12 ounces on them.
Yep.
Next ones might be, 10 or so. And, behind the boat, 6 ounces will keep it down, but it wouldn't keep it down out here with the drag of the current pulling on the line. So
Right.
That was our
that's a good.
Yep, that was our exact setup yesterday. It was 12s out the sides and 6s down the middles, 8s and 10s, but at an angle.
Yeah, I had 8s out. I had 8s out the side, 6s at an angle, and 5s behind me. Kevin says, when the wind is bad and want to anchor, don't buy a pontoon boat.
Yeah, that is good point, Kevin. Good point. That's an excellent point. If it's heavy winds, do not put the bimini up. I'd rather sit in the rain than have the bimini up in heavy winds and rain.
Yeah,
absolutely.
JG's reminding people don't anchor the back of your boat in the current or have a sharp knife handy.
Absolutely. Yeah, never.
Yep, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Dustin. You got it.
Oh, you had it. You go ahead.
I was just going to say, never, ever, if you're in current, especially heavy current, it's not so much in a lake, but especially tidal waters, because not only do you have that in a few hours, that water can, boom, you're talking feet in heavy current. You also got the chance of other debris coming down. So you got rising water, you got debris coming down, and you've got it anchored in both spots. And that anchor hangs up on another. But anyways, anchor hangs up, boom, unless you have the knife or a way to, a lot of people, what they'll do if they're doing that is they'll have it, an anchor, they'll have a ball on their anchor rope, and they have, what is that cleat called? It's like a Z cleat, I guess, where you wrap it around like that, and you can pull, from the front side, you pull it, and it's not going anywhere, but you pull it from the back side, you just lift it straight up, it comes loose, you throw the ball in, you're off anchor.
Yep.
But that's one of the safety features built into the anchors, like the Never Lost anchor, with that zip tie on it. Let's say you're anchored out and a tree or debris comes down and catches that anchor line. What'll happen is that zip tie on that Never Lost anchor will pop before it pulls your boat under. So it gives you a little bit of extra. That's a safety feature that a lot of people don't think about, but that'll help, because once that tree hits it and that zip tie breaks from the top of it, the chain is then connected to the bottom of the anchor, so it'll pull it free, and you'll be free floating down the river. But that's better than having your boat being pulled under the river. So,
yep,
absolutely.
Just another safety feature of the Never Lost anchors.
And another thing you can do if as far as the anchor ball, I don't have an anchor ball, but I bought those electric cord, the extension cord reels. And that's what I have my line wrapped around. Those float. So
there you go.
So if I ever have to do anything, I just pop the line and throw that in the water. I can come back and get it.
That's a great idea.
I wish I would have thought about that before I tore my hand up that one day. Because I was fishing in the wind by myself, holding on to that freaking thing because I didn't want to lose it.
Catfish Cowboy says, hold your hat in the wind. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, you might lose that. Another thing you can.
I'm wearing a Bill Reddick hat, but I was going to say Fishing Fever hats actually float. We found that out going down the road.
Just saying.
That's
just saying.
Fishing Fever merch does float.
So this floats?
It does.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Amish ain't going to have anything low quality. It's Amish,
Yep.
Absolutely. By the one,
you were with me.
I know.
Oh, okay.
By the way, what's up, A1? Good to see you.
A1 Fishing family, thanks for coming in.
Catfish fever. That's a good question. What's the number one thing? What's the number one thing that will kill you on the water besides pleasure boaters?
My wife looked at me and said, "Me."
No, she just breaks nets. She just breaks unbreakable nets. That's all.
Yeah, that's
You got to put her in a commercial.
Yeah. Yeah, the unbreakable net, the never lost anchors that get lost.
whatever.
No.
The number one thing that'll.
That's a good question. Is it like waves, water? I mean,
Pride.
Pride, ego.
Yeah. Yeah. When you
It
shouldn't
is.
be out there in a small boat,
Yeah.
but you still go out there. Yeah. Yeah.
Kevin says, best wind advice. Wise men say, when in high wind, invite young man to pull anchor.
Yep.
Why do you think I always go fishing with somebody else, Kevin?
Catfish Cowboy says, probably stupidity.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
there it is. That is the answer.
Surprise.
Hands down. We're waiting for the answer. None of us are. I'd say stupidity, or ego, like you said, being thinking you can handle more than you can, because
Well, it's
Mother
just-
Nature and water will kick your butt every time.
Man,
Absolutely.
even if it's going with the current, the wind, even if the wind is going with the current, if it's high enough, it'll still make those rollers. It'll still
Mhm.
you'll get white caps out there. It can be really rough, but and it takes no time. That wind will pick up, and within a minute, all of a sudden you've got rollers out there. It takes no time at all. So if they're calling for high winds around noon and you're fishing and it's 11 o'clock in the morning, you should probably be thinking about, when that wind picks up, I need to be in a place where if worst case scenario happens, I can at least get to the bank pretty quickly, or maybe go upriver from the ramp or something, depending on which way to so that if something goes wrong, you're at least floating towards the ramp.
Great points. Yeah, absolutely.
You got to be thinking about that kind of stuff.
A1 fishing. I can't swim. I'll stick to the bank.
Yeah, please do.
So Lynn said a drift sock. He said he's been watching some old time CatCon seminars.
Yeah.
And Ray Ferguson asked that question at his seminar.
What, something
He's saying Ray Ferguson asked that question at his seminar. There you go.
CatCon, yeah. So asking that question, he's saying a drift sock. I'm guessing because it can pull your boat down if you got a lot of current. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
Dang it. If this was an 8 o'clock show, I'd call Ray right now and we'd have him come up and what time is it?
It's 10 o'clock.
Oh, it's 10 o'clock. All right, never mind.
Jason Lamb, how you doing? Thanks for coming in.
I wish that would have came up at the beginning of the show. We could have messaged him and had an answer tonight.
Yes, Palmetto Cat said yes. Drift sock sinks boats here on the Santee all the time.
Wow.
I would have never thought of that.
No, because that's we use them quite a bit. So, like JG said, carry a knife. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything.
We've had 2 fatalities on our local lake in the last 2 years. Both were out in the wind. They should not have been in.
Yeah, there you go. Bam.
Yeah.
There was even that tournament director, and I think that may be one of the ones he's talking about. I don't remember if it was at Hoover, and the way the lake is north to south, and it was a direct wind. And you think I'm on a lake and blah blah blah. It can get bad.
There you go. Okay.
Oh yeah,
That makes sense.
Kevin said, unless you got a pontoon, then you'll just rip your rails off.
I'll tell you what, you can do that with an anchor too.
Yeah.
You can do that with an anchor. I was on the way back to the ramp one time and I drug that anchor probably 200 yards. And it didn't, because it was 200 yards of deeper water than what I was anchored in. So once it moved the first time, then it,
Hey, what's even worse?
Then I got close to the ramp and it caught, and the front of the boat just went and
oh my god!
Wow!
And I said, "What in the heck was that?" And and realized I had 100 foot of
What's
ankle.
up, Josh?
What's going on, Josh?
You know what's even worse than having your motor running with the anchor out? Trying to paddle with the anchor out.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, it's a great point. If you got to get out of the way quick, you're not pulling a drift lock in. If you forget and drive off, you're going to overturn your boat.
There you go.
That makes perfect sense.
So I would think the number one point that was brought up about fishing in the wind is don't do it. If you do it, the first thing always, your head needs to be on a swivel a lot more than normal conditions.
Yeah.
Always think safety first. Have your life jacket on. Or at least definitely handy. Try to find the spots that are out of the wind. But I think safety is the key. You're fishing in bad conditions, whether it's wind, whatever. I think that's the first and foremost. That should always be our main concern is safety.
Yep. So I want to. That's a great segue into my closing. I think what if you learn anything from tonight, and I know, I think I fall prey to this a lot too. I don't think about what I'm doing or what I'm going to do when I'm out on the water, right? I just think I've been doing this enough. I can go out there. If anything pops up, I'll just deal with it, right? So I think one of the things that I'm going to try to start doing, and I think it's probably a lot of people to do so, is to jump on stands. I'm just kidding. Is to make a plan, right?
I do float my kids in the pool. I'm just saying there'll be 3 or 4 of them climbed on top of me and I'm floating. But anyways, go ahead.
So make a plan. So, think about what would happen if, another boat was coming at you and you need to get out of the way. Think about if the wind comes up for some reason and you start going, your boat goes underwater. How are you going to react to that? Think about the other people around you. Just think about if something's going to happen, what are you going to do to react to that? And I think having a plan and maybe and practicing some of those things sometimes is probably going to be one of the biggest things I took out of all the stuff that I've researched today.
Absolutely great points, Dustin. And another thing, if you have newer people on your boat, make sure that they know how to drive the boat, where the anchor is, where the safety first aid kit. When Dustin and I went out with my granddaughter the one time, she ended up taking over captain, but Dustin even made sure that she was able to drive the boat. So God forbid something happened to Dustin and I both, she would have been able to get us back to the boat ramp. So that's a point that I think we don't ever think about is, other people out there, you may be experienced and, well, what about the other people in the boat? If they're new, make sure they know how to start the boat. Make sure they know how to lift the anchor. Make sure they know those things because, let's face it, the reason that accidents happen is because it's an accident. It's not expected. So, like Dustin was saying, plan for it. That's great points, Dustin. Great points.
Yep.
I think it's also important. Go ahead.
It's so easy when I'm out there by myself to not, exactly like you said, well, if something comes up, I'll deal with it or whatever, cause, but when I've got, if I bring a kid or my wife,
or
all
me,
all of a sudden it flips 180, that's all I can think about is like that, is what if this happens? What if that happens? But when you're by yourself, it's like, no, there's nothing out here that could,
Yeah.
you're it's that dumb, man, thing. But
and go ahead, finish up. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
You get it. No, you get it. No, you go. No.
I feel like I'm always cutting everybody off. But to that point too, you can't always and you shouldn't always assume that everybody else around you on the water knows what they're doing.
I don't.
You never can. Oh my gosh. You only got to fish the James River for about 15 minutes to realize that most other people out there have no clue what they're doing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sorry if you're wearing earbuds just then.
Sorry about that. I apologize. Remember those dudes at the boat ramp and Carol's last year before, Dustin, with the doing the donuts with the jet skis and hey, don't be afraid to go up and tell people too. I went right up to them and said, hey, Dustin and I were talking about it. Dustin was we're trying to launch the boat, and there's new people. They had no clue. They weren't intentionally trying to be jackasses, but they were. Then they were out there. So, you got to tell them, hey, tell your guy to get the hell out of here. Like he's causing safety issues. Yeah. He should not be causing wakes by the boat ramp. And, they listened and they apologized and they moved out of the way. And, they told the guy and they passed it on. But yeah, don't be afraid. If you see unsafe things,
absolutely
point it out. Yeah. You don't got to be a jackass about it. I went up politely and said, do you guys realize how unsafe that is? And, that's our chance to be the ambassadors out there and trying to pass on the same thing we're talking about here, and I guess it helps that we're big guys. So, people tend to listen, but.
Well, Kevin, I'm going to take this compliment, or this is a compliment. So thank you, Kevin. He said, this show is the complete opposite of the bait shop. You guys are so polite to each other here.
Yes, by all means, sir. No, sir, you go, please, sir.
But yeah, so just like I said, one of the things I wanted to come out of this was is for people to start thinking about what they're doing when they're out in the water, especially when you're dealing with wind. Because wind can be unpredictable. Wind can cause things to go sideways quickly, and even the most experienced boaters can get in trouble when it's windy out there. So, like I said, make a plan. Maybe practice some things, or at least talk about it when you're going with somebody else out on the water. At least talk about some of the potential obstacles that you may run into, or potential issues that may come up because of the wind. And then that way you guys are on the same page because one person may think that this is one way to react to something, which might go totally against what the other person thinks you're supposed to do. So just make sure you guys are talking to one another. Everybody on your boat, so everybody knows kind of what to do in case of those situations arise.
And Palmetto said it's endearing, wholesome. Well, Kevin, you always have an open invitation, as always. That you would have fit right in.
Absolutely. Yep. Oh, thank you, Josh. Does anybody in chat have any questions or any comments about fishing in the wind, or anything in general we've talked about this evening?
What's up, Charles B?
The floor is yours, chat. Charles, thanks for coming in. We were just talking about fishing in the wind, and some of the things that you can do to try to combat that or have it work in your favor. Another thing I wanted to mention too, and I can do this, and a lot of people I know can do this too, because I have two anchors on my boat. So if you're fishing in the wind and the back of your boat's going all over the place, don't be afraid to throw out a second anchor. I mean, Austin and I had to do that a couple of times. As long as you set them good, your boat's not going anywhere, and your baits will stay where you want them.
Yeah, and we weren't in very high current. That was the problem, is that the current wasn't high enough to counteract the wind. So
right,
Yeah, and if you do it the right way in the river, and of course that is never lost anchors to begin with, so they do have a safety feature, like I said, with the zip tie built in, so they will pop before, especially a bigger boat like Dustin's would go under. But if you're doing it right, your lead anchor, the one that's at the front of the boat that's upriver, upstream, up current, you're going to have quite a bit of line out. You're not going to have it, directly straight down where it would suck it down. So you will have a little bit of leeway in, how much rope you have out. So just, all that stuff. If you're not used to the biggest thing I want to add with that, Dustin, with safety is, start in, if you've never captained a boat before, meaning you're responsible for the passengers on the boat, those things, a boat operator. If you don't have that much experience with boats, go to some lakes first, go to some bigger ponds, some places where you can actually, in calm water, no current, you're not dealing with things. Get comfortable with the boat first. How do you, shifting gears up, dropping anchors, everything. Just as you feel more comfortable, then, a great example of that is Dust Catfish Cowboy. He started and he stayed up by kind of Ancaros, and he was just kind of doing smaller things. And as he got more comfortable with bringing the boat out, he went to a little bit more bigger water, and
exactly what I did.
yeah, there you go. So always stay within that. Don't start out going from I've never driven a boat before, and you're out there in Category 5, and
Yeah. The bunny hills.
that's
Use the bunny
same.
hills.
Yes, exactly. You've never skied before, and you're on the double black diamonds.
Yes.
Greg Burgess was saying, staying down here, we have to watch out for water spouts. It is hard to outrun them. I have survived 2 of them. They are faster than you think.
Wow. Yeah.
I saw a video.
What's that?
But speaking of water spout, I saw a video of two guys and a dog. They were on a bass boat, and a massive like EF3 wedge tornado came over the lake, and they couldn't get out of it. But they survived it, but
wow.
Holy smokes, talk about changing your britches.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Oh yeah, that would have been Stan 3 and I got caught in a really bad thunderstorm, high winds out of nowhere. It's on a couple of the shorts that I did, and I'm like,
I remember that night.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that tournament that Kevin? I saw Kevin's comment, and he reminded me he was hosting. I can't remember which one it was, but right there towards the end of the tournament, that storm popped up on the James, and I had to get back to the ramp, and it was like in a matter of seconds, white caps, Bimini top.
Yeah,
I almost went up like chitty chitty bang bang with that Bimini top.
Yeah, and never go on. Well, the weatherman said they're never 100%. I remember a couple times it was supposed to miss us. It's supposed to be northwest of you. Yeah, BS, because 5 minutes later it was coming right down that. And sometimes that'll happen. They hit over water, and the storm will change direction and just follow the waterway. So,
yep.
Never ever Kevin said the Whisker Bowl.
Yep.
And Charles Breckenridge had a great point out there. If you're, and that goes whether you're hunting, hiking, bike riding, you're going out into the wilderness, out away from people. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Let somebody know what area you're going to, so you don't come back. They can at least give good spot. They're going to be in this general area, as opposed to, I don't know, they went hiking in Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tell my wife, I try to be as detailed as I can with my wife, not just because of what happened. To me, I did it before, right? So if I'm going fishing, I'll tell her who I'm going with, where we plan on launching. I text her when we get on the water. I text her when I'm heading back to the ramp. I text her when the boat's on the trailer, and I text her when I'm on my way home.
Yep.
But my wife and I, we use the what is it? The 360 Life 360.
Oh, there you go.
She knows, I tell her what the general plan is anyways, but she's keeping an eye, she sees, okay, he's on, he's at the river, he's on the river, The other night, it was Friday night, and I fished pretty much the whole night within like a 200-yard stretch, and she called me to make sure that I was okay, because usually I'll move further than that.
All right, Lisa.
So she called to say, hey, you okay? Because I see the boat hasn't moved in like 3 hours. So,
Yeah, that's great. All great tips. Great job tonight, guys. That was awesome.
Absolutely. And like everybody else out there says, Michael Grumpy Vet says 5 to 10, you're in. 15 and above, don't do it, love.
Uncle Jeep had a question.
Don, it gets nasty. Win and pleasure both. Sandusky Bay is what he's talking about. Appreciate you, Lynn. Thanks for coming in.
Uncle Jeep, the coffee always tastes better at 20 mile per hour.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
20 mile per hour winds of coffee is always the best tasting.
Jeep, go watch my last video. I made a cup of coffee right there on the boat.
I was just thinking that too. JG said, fish your baits into the wind or with the wind? Question. That's his question. Do you fish your baits into the wind or with the wind?
Yeah,
with the wind. Into the wind, it's going to push them back towards you.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the current underneath. It's the water pushing on top, pushing against your line that's going to start pulling it back.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And you're talking about the coffee on the boat. if you book a trip with Goober Time Guide Service, he always has. There's a grill on there. He's got a turbo water heater. You can have ramen or hot coffee within a minute. So check out Goober Time Guide Service. Not only do you get Dan, you get Stan 3 also. So hey, what a great trip.
So Michael Grumpy Vet said I fished a tournament with it. There's a tournament when a twister hit in the middle of the night. Luckily, we were tied up. Wow. Shoot.
Wow.
That's scary.
And A1, I saw your question before. We primarily fish catfish, but we go down to saltwater sometimes. We do fish. You know, there's been a very occasional sturgeon caught.
Very, very occasional. One of them.
One.
Did y'all ever hear that story of fishing? We were fishing Rogers tournament, and the bass boat was behind us, and they're casting their things and stuff, and they come up next to us. They don't know that we're out there, fishing the tournament and stuff, and they're asking questions and stuff, and they start saying about sturgeon, like, "Hey, did you hear about that guy?" It was in one of Roger's tournaments. Did you hear about that guy that caught that big sturgeon a year or two ago?
You were like, no,
don't say. Yeah. You mean this guy right here? Oh, it's hilarious. But anyways, that's neither here nor there for tonight.
Chris said, check what the wind is doing in the future. Don't get caught in unexpected winds.
Absolutely.
Mark said, okay, done in the shop. Super windy days have never been productive for me, so I usually don't bother. Yeah. Windy, I prefer not to be out. I would usually prefer not to be out in the wind, but yesterday I had the day off. I hadn't been fishing, and I'm like, I'm going. I'll figure it out.
Justin said I owe you $49 now for the S word fee.
That's right. It doubles every time, too. Just be careful with that.
What's up, dog?
Michael Grumpy Vet says, Stan, if I go with you, you better have pots and pots of coffee. You're very welcome, Michael. We really appreciate you coming in and watching us tonight.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Dog said might only be
Sorry.
Might only be one, but it was a biggie. Please tell the story. No, he will get removed from the stage, Tim, if he starts telling that story again.
Oh, I got a better one. I got a newer story.
Good. So
This just happened the other day. It was Roger's story. It was a warm winter day. Zach and Roger had been beating the bench for hours trying to catch bait. They finally got some bait. They heroically were trying spot after spot. They were trying technique after technique. And suddenly, the rod creaks and bends over. I could keep. Oh, we over time. I'll continue the story on another night. But yes, that's for Roger and Zach and yeah. But
as long as you tie wind in there somewhere, I think.
Well, on that note, like I said, I hope everybody learned something this evening. If nothing else, we gave you something to think about.
Absolutely.
So Jodi was cooking. She said, "Did anyone catch one?" I had to step away. I was cooking. Jodi, if you're going to tell something, make sure it's the truth.
As a matter of fact.
Oh, Lord. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. Thank you, each and every one of you, for coming in. Again, big shout out to all the Whisker Warriors. They're scrolling across the screen down below. You too can become a Whisker Warrior. The link should be in the description. I think it's at the very top, actually. Excuse me. You're going to see a lot more things coming out from Team Snaggin Whiskers this year. We're going to try to do some members only stuff, and we're going to do a lot more fishing this year. I promise you that. So thank you, each and every one of you, especially to all of our Whisker Warriors and everybody in chat. Congratulations to all the folks that got nominated for the Golden Whisker Awards. That's fantastic. Hope each and every one of you win.
If Kevin's out there, he can drop the link. If he's still there, he had the link out there. Go put the votes in. The nominations are out now. You can see who was nominated for each category. put the votes in, because that's what it's all about, is letting the chat, letting the people in the community decide who they think is the winner of each category.
And on that note, send me if you have any suggestions. We want to do some more stuff like tonight. We want to do some more informational, educational stuff. So if anybody has any suggestions, please put them in the comments below, and we'll do the best we can. There's the link. We'll do the best we can to get to those and make sure we can get a show that covers those topics. And hopefully, like I said, I want to be able to teach people stuff. I want to be able to share the knowledge that we've all gained throughout the years that we've been doing this.
All right.
And so thank you to you, Stan. Thank you to Austin for coming up and sharing your knowledge. I am not an expert by any means, and I feel real comfortable around these two gentlemen because I know that I can, even if we're not on a live, we're just talking about something. I know, I can ask them anything and they'll answer me honestly, even if it's a dumb question.
And even if it's I don't know, don't be afraid to say, don't give a BS answer. If you don't know something, say you don't know and look it up, find it out together, because everybody will learn. But I want to do, Dustin, if you don't mind, along with safety and along those things, I publicly want to thank, I know you went through a lot this past year, and I know JG, I publicly want to thank both of you, because for those that don't know me, I am never, ever, ever, ever have been. I mean, I've sat at home with broken bones before when I was younger. I'm fine before going to the doctor. And for those that watched Stand Day this past weekend, JG jumped up in there. I actually went. I had developed I was sick for a week. I developed an infection in my salivary gland, but woke up with this just huge, and it was getting worse and stuff. A year ago, I never would have went. So thank you to JG and you for being those examples out there. Go. If I didn't go get that checked out, the infection could have ate the salivary gland. I'd be having lifelong problems. But because I decided to go, they checked everything out. No infectious disease, no blah, 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 COVID, all this other stuff. They checked everything, kidney, everything's working fine. Just diagnosed as a infected salivary gland. Boom, some antibiotics, a couple days, and good. If I would have waited normally, it would have got worse. Would have got worse, and I would have had lifelong problems with it. So thank you to you, to JG, for being that example. I hope that we can, keep that going. If you think there's something wrong, there probably is. Chances are, though, it could be just something minor. And the quicker you go, the more minor it's going to be. So if you feel something's wrong, go to the doctor. But I just want to publicly thank both you and JG for being those great examples and for keeping that positive attitude all the time. I never saw you get upset publicly. Same thing with JG. I'm going to beat this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. It's just amazing to me that what you went through, and here a year later, you're out there on the boat by yourself. You talk about, and JG sitting there, I just wants to go fish, and he's back. He had to go back to work and stuff already. So, I can't thank you all enough for being that example for everybody out there. If you think there's something wrong, go to the doctor. Don't be afraid. Don't think it's silly. Don't think, I'm too big of a man. Go. And so thank you both for that.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. Mark's saying infections are no joke. He died from one once. He's not kidding. He flatlined.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you're still here with us. JG, same to you. I know I'm glad I'm still here with y'all, even though I may annoy some people. But
hey, Mark,
no, not you, Dustin.
Mark, when you flatlined, I'm just curious, was there a river that was worth fishing in heaven? I just want to know what to look forward to. That's all.
You may at first you think you're in heaven because you're catching fish on every cast, but technically that after a while, think about it, that would be hell. That's the whole point, is the chance of going out there. Yep. If you don't have those bad days and those struggles, you're not going to appreciate when you catch that first 10, 15, 30, 40, 50. So just be careful what you wish for.
Well, I don't think it's about the. Well,
I'm sorry, I got too deep. I didn't mean to.
All right, we gotta wrap this up. Don't
I just want
forget.
to sit on the river.
Don't forget.
I didn't mean it to turn that deep. I apologize, but I felt like I had to get it out tonight because, man, a couple days I was good as new, and I feel back to myself again. So
that's good.
All right.
Yeah.
I've got a call, so I got to get going here. Don't forget F.O.A. CustomsandGear.com, TSW 10, Fever 10, 2 Stands 10, BBC 10, FTW 10. Just use a code. Use something 10. Save yourself 10%. Great.
If you heard it here tonight, though, use TSW 10. Just saying.
Thank you. But thank you again for everybody coming in tonight. Oh, don't forget to go get yourself an Ancient Mariner reel from River Cats Tackle.
There you go.
And you can use code 92210, and it'll get you 10% off. River Ancient Mariner always has free shipping and lifetime warranty on their stuff. You can't beat it. But get all your other stuff from F.O.A. CustomsandGear.com. And thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate each and every one of you, gentlemen. Thank you both for coming up. And
thank you
again. Get those comments, get those suggestions in the comments, and so we can plan for next week's show starting now.
I had a great night tonight. Thank you guys. This was fun. This was a great show. I think really great show.
It was
absolutely. We appreciate it. All right, thank you all so much. Have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see y'all on the water.
See you tomorrow night.
Be safe in the wind.